So now I've made an STAAR reading prep, and I want to show you how to use this with your students. So what we need to click on is present. So I'll click present. So this is what I would do if I'm in the classroom. Now you can either have it with or without music, so we can use it down here. And now we're presenting it to our students. We want the students to join the lesson. To do this, I'll click here. So this is our join lobby. And now we get some options. If they're using a phone, they can be joining with this QR code, but for a STAAR prep lesson, I highly recommend that they use a device that's easy to write on. So some sort of Chromebook, laptop, iPad, something like this. And then they can either go to curie.live and join from there, or then they use the pin, or you can just copy out this link and send it to them in your learning management system. I'm going to open another tab here and enter that link and join as a student. So during this showcasing, I will be moving back and forth between the teacher screen and the student screen to show you both examples. So when I join as a student, I have to input my real name, but on the big screen, you can just see the student's nickname. This is to make it safer for the students to participate. In a later video, I will show you how to use the moderation tool to moderate student behavior, see the real names behind everything. But we're only one student joining this time, so we're ready to go, and I'll close that lobby. So we can move between activities here, and let's stop here on the text they're supposed to read. So I'll move back to the student device, and the students, it's very easy, they can toggle between two modes. It's the focus mode, which is if they only want their writing assignments, but they can also see the slides here. So if I open this one up here, I can go in and I can read it as a student. So here I can read the slides the teacher are presenting. Interesting note here that the students cannot go beyond the slide the teacher is on. So if I go back to the teacher device, you will see that we're on slide 4. The teacher can, of course, scroll to slide 5, but when the teacher is on slide 4, the student cannot scroll any further. They can go back, but not further. So typically, if I did this lesson, I would now stop and have all my students read this text, or we will read it together out loud. And then I would move on. So here I can start the first activity, draw something that was interested that you noticed in the text. So I won't do this activity now, but it's very easy to try. You start it, and the students will get a drawing device on their screens. But what I want to do is I want to move over to the real activity, the AI feedback activity. This is the real STAAR prep of this lesson, and we want to test it out together. So here the activity says, how does the Super Bowl impact American culture according to the text? So when we want to start this, I'll just click play, and I'll move over to the student device so you can see what's happening here. They get their text field up here. They can go into focus mode and they only see the text, but I want to be here. Then they can, if they want to navigate back to the text to read through it again. And when they feel like they've read it, they can start writing. I have tried to write a short answer here. The Super Bowl affects American culture by being a big football game, etc., etc. And I can click submit. And what I want to do now is navigate back to the teacher screen, then end the activity as there was only one student in the activity. And now I can press give feedback. After a little bit of loading, if I open this on the teacher device, I will see that all the students have gotten feedback. What I can do, let's rather navigate over to the student device. So here, I as a student can see my feedback. Nice effort on your response. I got 1 point. And here I get feedback on my content, my evidence, my organization, my language, and how I can improve this. So that is what I think I will do in my next activity. So all your students have gotten feedback, and we're moving on to the next activity. And the next activity is the same question in an AI feedback activity, where we now can try to improve. So I'll start this activity again, and I'll move over to the student's device. So interesting to note here is that if the student scrolls back to the previous slide, they can get their answer copied out, and they can also see the feedback, so they can work with that. They can try to write an improved answer. So here I've tried to write an improved answer, and I'll click submit. I'll move back to the teacher screen and stop the activity. And again, I will try to give feedback. So if I'll click on this from the teacher screen, I see that my students have gotten feedback. I can move back to the student screen. This time I actually got 2 points. So this was an improvement. Fair warning, I've been testing out these answers, but usually students take 2 points. That's an improvement. And I can still read through my feedback here. And this is just a great way for your students to get repeated feedback on how they write for STAAR. So why does this work so well? So first of all, it creates really engaging test prep. That is very important. And it takes a long time to create enough engaging test prep. And as I showed you in the beginning, you could make the topic something cross-curricular, so a standard from your social science. But you can also make it something the students care about, like we did now with Super Bowl, which makes it possible to make test prep the students want to do over and over again. And that's the feedback we get, that suddenly students want to do this. And you can do it not just in the test prep season, but you can do it once every day or every week. The other reason this works is because you get very short feedback loops. So since we're giving the feedback with AI, you don't have to go home and grade and give feedback every time you want to practice for the STAAR test. You can actually do this repeatedly several times in the same class, which just makes it so much faster for the students to learn. And then thirdly, the feedback has high quality, and it uses the same rubrics as they would on a STAAR test, which also makes the students adapt to getting graded by an AI, which is a little bit different from being graded by a teacher. So I hope this gave you kind of a good overview of how the student experiences a STAAR prep lesson and how this will play out in your classroom.